your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX.
J-Way.
I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless.
I'm gone.
Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck.
Give me that.
To the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. I'm here with my co-host, Coach. It's looking a little gloomy outside. Just give you guys a little weather report. I think the high is 50 some degrees today. 50 on the dot. But yeah, other than that, how you feeling today, Coach?
Oh yeah, we've had some nice weather earlier in the week. Now we're kind of right back to where we were a week or two ago, just for a day or two. But Tigers are warming up after that four-game series debacle in Minnesota, and we are looking at some random weather-related time change for today's game. Hence why we were a little bit earlier than normal for today, but and also because this is a 4-game series ending on a Monday of all things. So
at 11 a.m.
Yeah, right. And it's the same day as the Boston Marathon race there too. So I think we joked offline. I said they might not wear their normal home white uniform the whole 4-game series. So they wore their green ones Friday and those yellow City Connect ones, but doesn't matter. It's a new day, and it's a day that we're hoping to catch the series lead and see what happens on Monday.
Absolutely, and it started off the week with a couple of defensive struggles, a lot of pitching, and the Tigers kind of had to manufacture some runs in some unconventional ways. We got to see a full showcase of Jack Caglianone's arm as he just threw out numerous Tigers runners, but we also got to see a nice slide, a nice slide from Javier Baez to avoid being one of the outfield assists from Caglianone. It wasn't into the third game that we really saw any offense, and that was quite a wild game that had some rain delays, had some ump issues, and some bullpen, some bullpen blunders, but very exciting conclusion to the game. I actually wanted to go left just a little bit. Now, as we watched the game on, what was that, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. Yeah. Where the ump had to, dart to the dugout. Do you have any horror stories as an umpire? And whether it's had a little too much last night, not feeling great. Any horror stories that you want to that you can think of as you've umped over hundreds, thousands of games? I don't even know. Probably not thousands.
I hate you because that's actually happened to me once.
What? Like
yeah,
you got sick and.
Yeah, I was this is years ago. Well, thank God it was local. For some reason, it was like a 13U or 14U summer game. They wanted 3 umpires for that game, which we normally never do at all. And this is just like local summer, not like house league. This was part of like a summer weekday league, similar to what I played with the Blues. But anyways, yeah, I ate something probably about 2 hours or so, hour and a half for game time, and it just didn't sit well. And it was church property, but there's this outhouse about 200 yards way straight away center field, well beyond where anyone could hit. And I looked at it and I was like, second inning, man, my stomach. I told the 2 younger guys that I was with, I was probably in my mid-20s. These were early 20s, late teens. Like, all right, guys, I got to the bathroom. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. I got to hear the snickering behind me as I'm jogging, making a long lonely jog out to the outhouse. But yeah,
Did they keep the game going while you were gone, or?
Well, yeah, we normally go 2-man, so that was fine. We went back to almost like what we would be used to doing. That series. So why I was like, all right, you got it from here. I'll be back in about an inning or so. I got to take care of this. But yeah, so that changed how I prepare for me personally, how I prepare for games on game days and tournaments and stuff. So it's never happened since, and it never will happen again.
Right. And, you don't even think about the fact that, I mean, these umpires are on the road. So a lot of times they're eating out at just these random obscure places. They don't know if it's good food, bad food, or what. And, so these things can happen, just like the players get days off for sickness and injuries and stuff like that. These umps got to suit up and in all that gear and be on the front stage with everybody else. So just one of those things that you don't always think about. So but yeah, that final game of the series, which to me was probably, in my opinion, was a demoralizing loss for the Royals because they have struggled. They haven't hit very well. And then in the one game that they did hit, they still lose. They have a 2-run lead going into the 9th inning, and they weren't able to hold on to it. I think it started with, did that game go? No, it didn't go into extras. Who scored? I know McGonigal.
He was in the 9th. We walked it off in the 9th.
Okay, and Green had the winning run, but
no, Riley had the 2 RBI double, and then Colt followed up with the RBI single to score him from second to walk it off.
Gotcha. Yeah. And Pasquantino hit a home run in the top of the 8th that kind of was like you would have thought stamped the victory because the Tigers got to score 2 runs in the 9th. And, we had already blown a big lead and, Perez hit the home run and we had the rain delay. There was so much going on. And you just figure like, all right, let's just get up out of here. Let's just get out of here with a 2-3 series win. But we were able to come back like we've done so many times in years past and keep the streak alive too, up until the Boston series. But what was your takeaways from the Kansas City series, or a divisional opponent, coming off the Minnesota situation? We needed that one. What did you see in that series?
Well, they found ways to win, and I think there was some stat their PR team tried to put out there saying that it's the latest in a 3-game series where they won. It's the latest in any game where they took the lead, so like 7th inning or later, to win all 3 games. They said that's never been done before in Tigers history, where they won a 3-game set all by having not a lead until the last 2 or 3 innings of the game, something weird like that. But they needed it. Don't really care how they got it done. They just needed to win that series after losing 4 straight. Minnesota couldn't really start, down 1-6 if they were to drop 2 or 3. That's kind of a hard mountain to climb against the rest of your divisional opponents, having to give them that many games already in hand to start. But it's kind of snowballed from there into the Marlins series, and we've had some pitching duels against Boston. So they're still kind of finding themselves out here a little bit. But no, it's good to see 3-game sweep means more in division than it does really externally. Those are the ones you see the bulk of the time and know you the best. So yeah, good bounce back. Good starts this week too. A lot of the starters bounced back. Skubal, Framber, Montero had an amazing game. Kind of got screwed over by the bullpen again for him, but good
Flaherty,
to see after some of those guys struggled. Flaherty, yeah, kind of. I'm still a little concerned about him though. Well, we can talk about that a little bit later, but I'm not totally sold on Flaherty. But the emergence suddenly of Montero kind of makes us feel like he can explore whatever he's got going on a little bit more.
For sure. And the one thing that jumped out at me is, I was kind of concerned about what Gleyber Torres, especially with the bad speed slowing down and them having a kind of slow start to the season. But he kind of answered the bell in the Kansas City series. We didn't have a whole lot of offense, but in the first what was it, the last 2 games of the series, he went 3 for 4 and 2 for 4 with a couple runs and an RBI. So he bounced back after starting slow, so that was good to see. But in addition to that, speaking of bouncing back, Jahmai Jones has got back into we can now welcome him to the beginning of the season. AJ never shy about throwing him in against the lefties. He was in the 3-hole. He had some big hits against Kansas City. He had a couple of, I think he had two. Well, no, he had a single that he tried to turn into a double that he got thrown out on in the first game. And then he actually had a double that pushed McGonigal over to third because, it's that green, the green monster, it's a shorter wall. So normally, a fast runner like McGonigal can score when somebody hits a double, but because the stadium is small in that area, he wasn't able to stretch it into a scored run. And that's kind of the preliminary to that first game where we lost. What was that? 1-0. Yeah. That game was 0-0 all the way up until they go into extras.
Yep. We played 1 extra and then we went to the 10th.
Right. So that was another crazy pitchers duel between it was Suarez. I think it was Ranger Suarez and Montero?
Casey Mize.
Mize. Yep. Mize. Yeah.
Mize had a phenomenal game.
Yep.
He pitched longer into that too. Ranger came out a little bit earlier and Casey went. No, sorry. Casey had seven strikeouts in 6 innings. And Ranger only had 4 and 7.
Yeah.
But similar pitch counts, though.
So we ended up we got to see the debut of Hyu Lee, which hitting wise, I think I want to say he had one of his outs was a long out fly ball. And I think they said, I was listening on the radio at that point, they said it was a 400 foot out. Is that possible?
It was like 390. I saw that earlier today. It was 3 something. It was close to the bullpen. The home bullpen is right there in that center field, right center field corner. Yeah. Same one that gives me nightmares after Torrey Hunter fell over in the playoffs. Yeah. No. But anyways, we were here in the moment, the 26th now. They said it was like it needed another like 6 or 7 feet carry to the right and would have gone into the bullpen, but it was awfully close. He ripped it. It was like 97 exit velo, 20 degrees or 19 degree launch angle, 391. It just needed a little bit more. Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, so he got it's a interesting debut to have, a road game against in legendary Fenway Park, but he's now playing third base in place of Zach McKinstry. And third base is a position that he picked up starting last spring. So still not very, still pretty new to the position, but he had a couple plays, one where he kind of cut off McGonigal. It was kind of going towards the shortstop hole. And it was a late, the runner ended up being safe essentially. And then late in the game, Dingler, I think they were trying to steal third and the ball just hit off his glove. And I think that ended up being the winning run because it turned into they brought Javi Baez in from center field and the whole fiasco. It wasn't a great debut from him, but you saw, shades of why he was added to the 40-man roster, why he's being called up. So we'll see once the next time we get a chance to see Hyu Lee. But part of the reason why they said that they likely chose him over Trey Cruz and somebody else was the fact that there are so many lefties coming up, and he's a left-handed pitching masher. So that was the theory behind that. But we'll see how that progresses. He went 0 for 3, and then he didn't get any at bats in the second game. So yeah, that brings us to Saturday. Did you get a chance to watch that game?
Yeah, I mean, it was again kind of not too much happening. Not too much action either. Let me go to the box score real quick here.
Well, we know Kerry hit a home run. I don't know if there was runners on, but yeah, I mean, it was only 4-1, so there wasn't a whole lot of action.
Yeah, he had a 2-run. I think he had a runner on. Yeah. He had a sac fly, I believe. Right. No, Carpenter with the walk, and then he had the 2-run home or solo homer. Jake Rogers had the sacrifice. That's right. That scored Wencio Perez, and then McGonigal had the 4th run scoring Baez. So everything was kind of early and in small pieces, but yeah, no, it's good to see Jake get on and drive in a run. Javi's been good for last week versus Minnesota. Kerry had a good game. McGonigal kind of came on late. I think he was 0 for 3 to start, and then his last 2 at-bats, he delivered, got on and scored and or drove in a run. So, even if it doesn't look good for him, he still finds a way to end his day with a good at-bat of some type. So he's been involved, whether he's scoring the run or driving it in or just getting on. McGonigal continues to be in the soup every time.
Yeah, he's a great table setter. He's been a godsend this year for sure. I mean, that's exactly what we needed. Speed at the top of the order, somebody that can put the ball in play at a high clip, So yeah, overall, my takeaways from the entire week. We talked about Javi. He continues to play well. Really like the way he's been taking the ball the opposite way. He drew a walk the other day in that day game on Thursday. I think it was Thursday. So yeah, he's really fallen into that, that role of just, doing what needs to be done. He's been playing center field. He's been getting some big hits. He did get thrown out, I think, at the plate the other day, but he brings his lunch pail every game and plays hard. Outside of that, Torque, it's been rough for him. He's kind of in a very, playing with fire right now with the numbers that he's got going on. Super low numbers for with the bases loaded. His average is currently 190. And the defense looks good to me, but doesn't really play well as far as the analytics are concerned. Wencio Perez, he did have a big home run the other day, but he's hitting 0.45 at the time that I wrote it down. Good to see Kerry hit a home run. The power, we know the power is going to be there. We just need more consistency otherwise. But yeah, and any way that he can make an impact on the game is important. And Kenley Jansen has looked really good as a closer. He's got 5 saves already. He's got a 1.59 ERA. Had a rough second outing where he blew the save against Arizona, but otherwise he's shut the door. 5 saves has got to be amongst top in the league. Anything else before we head to the first break?
Not really. I think we saw some good consistent power this week with 4 home runs combined between Carpenter and Dingler this week. So, I know when we came back home, Glaber got his first, McKinstry got his first in that first home series. So their guys are starting to chip in, but Riley has been better this week. He's hit a little bit better from an average standpoint, and I think he's been driving in a bit more too. So his at bats have come with a little bit more weighted production out of him when he's been getting on. I feel like he's been driving in a run here and there, whether it's a double or just a single, but it's good to see for him kind of slowly clawing his way back up there. So those guys continue to do most of the carrying along with McGonigal at the table setting. And Cole Keith, who's cooled off a little bit, though, also continues to deliver some key hits, including the walk-off. So they're starting to kind of feel it out a little bit here.
Absolutely. And let's get to the break, and then we'll see what we got going on the other end. All right. What rosters and injury updates situations do we have to report on?
Yep. So officially earlier in the middle of the week, the Tigers made the announcement that Parker Meadows was moved to the 60-day IL and will be missing, quote, multiple months after having successful wrist surgery in Atlanta. So I'm guessing probably 3 months would be closer towards the trade deadline, All-Star game break, mid to late July. In that range would be the 90 days roughly. He's going to have to get some rehab and some at-bats down in either Lakeland or Erie or somewhere before he gets fully cleared at that point. So unfortunate for him, Haiyu Lee on the 17th had his contract bought by the club and obviously made his debut. No word yet, and I haven't checked to see if he's in the lineup as of today, but I got to imagine with Garrett Crochet in the mound, he most likely is, but we'll see here. McKinstry was placed on the 10-day IL as well with, I believe it was a hip injury. Doesn't sound like it's too concerning, and it's the shortest amount of time he can really be off, I do believe. So hopefully he'll be back ready to go. The extension of McGonigal was announced on the 15th. 8 years, 150 was escalated up to 160 million. And also on the 16th, the club announced that from AJ Hinch, JV, his recovery is a little bit slower. It was not activated immediately, which would have been the 16th of this week. So he may not be ready to go for the next series or two. It sounds like he has some other hurdles to clear to get his clearance and then activation. And on the 14th, Bailey Horn was sent to Erie for rehab, and on the 14th, it was paused. So he was coming back from an elbow injury. No update or timetable yet on his rehab resumption.
All right. And we're going to get right into the minor league report. First thing, we're going to start on a negative note, but definitely I want to touch on it. Bryce Ranier. Now, we did see him hit one of the furthest home runs in Tiger minor league history. But overall, he's been struggling. He's only 20 years old, and he is highly touted. But I think that shoulder injury has just the amount of time that he was out has kind of thrown off the swing. There was some videos floating around of one of his strikeouts, and it was quite an awkward swing. I'll just say that. Outside of that home run, he is only 7 of 42 so far this year, which is 160 with a 167 average, 5 RBIs, and a 575 OPS. So although we have seen some a few nice highlights, it's been a struggle for him early on. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Like I said, he's only 20 years old, and a ways away before he's in any consideration for anything close to being in Detroit, obviously. But hopefully he can continue to stay healthy and get back in the swing of things. Outside of that, Brett Callahan, who's in Erie, is having a good start to the season. I think he had a pretty solid spring as well, but he's hitting 317, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs with the 916 OPS. And this was actually written down before Lee got the call up, but he just recently hit his first home run of the year because he missed a good part of the spring training. He missed all of the World Baseball Classic due to an injury. So it was kind of a quick call up for him, quicker than I thought it would have been. But like I said, it's a lot of lefties on the way, including Garrett Crochet. He'll probably be in the lineup today along with Jahmai Jones. But yeah, he was actually kind of struggling in AAA. So interesting all around, but he seems to, be getting acclimated to the major leagues pretty quickly. Put a nice, gave a ball a nice ride on Friday. Just missed hitting it out. outside of that, Gentry, I can't remember his first name. We actually just signed him to a minor league contract. In his first 8 at bats, he had 5 RBI. So off to a hot start. He's an outfielder, by the way. So that was probably retroactive to the Meadows injury. Also, Corey Jokes has remained hot. He's had a 283 average, 3 home runs, and 13 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and an 884 OPS. So another guy to keep an eye on, an outfielder that has continued to hit the ball well. You got some outfielders that are struggling right now, Vierling and Wenzel Perez, most notably. So still going to be a while before I think we make any moves because he isn't on the 40-man roster, but nothing that you can just ignore because we do need some punch in the corner outfield for sure. But outside of that, Max Clark hit his first home run of the season. He remains to play great defense. It just seems like I'm saying the same thing every week, but that's just what he's been consistently playing really well defensively and offensively. I said I wanted to see the power. There's the power. So we'll keep an eye on him and see if he can't continue to apply pressure the same way that we kind of talked about Max Anderson and Kevin McGonigal. They just continue to play well and force the coach to justify keeping them down there. No rush, but something to keep an eye on. But yeah, outside of that, actually, I had some pitching. I told you I was going to come up with the pitching notes. Where is it? Okay. This is a tweet from Tigers Torquemoil. He said, not a lot of arms off to great starts for AAA Toledo, but there are a few relievers who have been pretty effective thus far. Ricky Vanasco, we're pretty familiar with him. He spent some time in Detroit. 8 innings pitched so far, 0 earned runs, 18 Ks. Birch Smith, 7 2/3. 0 earned runs, 13 Ks. Matt Seelinger, 7 2/3, 1 earned run, 10 Ks. And Connor Pilkington, 8 2/3, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. So yeah, a couple guys that I'm not super familiar with, but Ricky Vanasco, like I said, spent some time in Detroit, so I'm somewhat familiar with that. Toledo's given up a lot of runs, though. I will say that. So they're kind of those are the bright spots out of a whole lot of struggle, to say the very least. But yeah, that's all we have as far as the minor league report. Let's get into around the league. What's hot around the league right now?
Yeah, so we've got here the Mets are in continued turmoil. They're on a 10-game losing streak. Soto went on the IL earlier in the week, along with some other notable stars in terms of George Springer, Christian Yelich, and Phillies closer all-star Duran, all landing on the IL this week. Jorge Soler and Reynaldo Lopez were given 7-game suspensions each for their brawl involving each other. Happened between, I believe, Atlanta and Cincinnati, ironically considering their former World Series winning teammates. That's interesting to note. Jordan Alvarez continues to be up there in league home run total for a team also questionably struggling. The Astros are last in the AL West right now with only 8 wins. Looking up at the rest of the division. Update in terms of Rookie of the Year. It's largely a 2-horse race right now with McGonigal and Guardians rookie Chase DeLauter. Murakami's kind of still in the race there with the White Sox, however, they've cooled off as well as he himself. National League, it's largely between South Shore, the Reds, and Mets. Stud arm Nolan McLean running behind them. I believe it's Washington's infielder J.J. Weatherholt. Cubs catchers Ballesteros and obviously Connor Griffin round out the other 3 chasing in the National League Rookie of the Year. And how about the Tampa Bay Rays? First in the AL East, considering all the other teams so far. Quietly have gotten it done despite the Yankees' great start. They're on a little bit of slide as well. So the Mets and Phillies also down in terms of losing records right now in the NL East. Weirdly enough, the NL Central has all winning teams. Could this be a year the NL Central gets not one, but 2 or even 3 teams in via wild card? It'd be quite the change of pace after we've been talking about the death of the NL West.
Absolutely. And just to touch on the rookie talks, another name to keep an eye on is Parker Messick. I think he took a no-hitter into the 9th inning. It was pretty far. I can't remember what it was, but the Guardians continue to, find pitching prospects. I think they have one of the top, farm systems in all of baseball, though, so it doesn't surprise me. But yeah, that's a nice 1-2 punch of Parker Messick and Chase DeLauder. Also, Murakami had definitely slowed down for sure. Hit a grand slam the other day against the A's, though. That dude has insane power. Hit it over the batter's eye in Sacramento. Would have been really nice to have. Like, if he had went to Detroit, man, that would have been amazing. But is what it is. He's an op. But yeah, that dude is fun to watch. Very Ohtani-esque. During the World Baseball Classic, there was a point where he was working on a stance, and Ohtani made one minor adjustment, told him to make one minor adjustment. He hits a home run immediately. The fact that he has Ohtani at his disposal to help him with this game is kind of spooky for everybody in the AL Central. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race down the stretch, and a lot of it will be focused around the AL Central. McGonigal, of course, Messick, DeLauder, and whoever else. So very interesting as far as that's concerned. Outside of that, let's talk probables. What are the probable starters upcoming this week?
So yeah, we take a look ahead here, not counting today or really the end of the series, just looking at the next series and beyond. Actually, we will. Just kidding. Monday, we'll be wrapping up Boston Monday morning. Flaherty against Gray. And then Tuesday through Thursday, they are back home for a 3-game set against Milwaukee Brewers, continuing the Midwest theme here. Tuesday, it'll be Montero against Patrick. Wednesday, Casey Mize against Sproat. And Thursday's matinee day rubber match game will be Skubal against Harrison. Quick turnaround, and they drive down to Cincinnati for a weekend set of 3. Framber Friday night against Abbott. Saturday, we'll see Flaherty against Brady Singer, who we know too well from his days being Royal. And then Sunday, the matinee day game will be Montero against Lauder with a minor look ahead. They will finally have an off day on the 27th. 3 games in Atlanta, followed by 3 back home against Texas to begin the month of May.
All right. And any interesting trends, or it's going to be a combination, any interesting trends and or just, I don't know, concerns, or what do you – let's start with concerns. If you got any trends, you can throw those out there. But what are your biggest concerns as of right now?
I don't know what we're doing wasting a roster spot on Drew Anderson. Cut his ass already, please, Lord. What are we doing? And I don't know why he continues to get high leverage situations or even up 4 or 5 runs. This guy's a walking disaster at $7 million. And I can't believe this guy's got an option for $10 million next year. That's incredible.
I'm sorry. A team option, right?
I don't know whose it is, but it needs to not even be an option. This guy's been pitching the majors since 2021, 2022. Guy out of Korea, 21. Japan, the last 3 years.
Yep, 21.
Ain't it? This ain't it. He's terrible. He had 1 good outing out of 4 or 5, and he's been just shelled all the others. But no, he's got to go.
So how does that work? If you have let's say it's a player option for $10 million next year. If you cut somebody, do they take home the 10 next year?
No, because the option has to be picked up for it to be active. It's kind of like a what if. It's not anything. There's no financial, unless there's something in the contract that states if he's cut before a certain date, where that option can be evaluated and used, maybe, but that's kind of getting in the weeds of it a bit much. But no, the only other concern, but we've talked about it offline, and I'm not going to hammer it to death, but yeah, Torkelson I think is continuing his descent here. He did have a hit with a runner in scoring position the other day, which was good to see. But other than that, there hasn't been much there since maybe back in the beginning of the week before they left to Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, Torque definitely. Winfield. It's interesting when you get into Drew Anderson too. It's interesting when you look at his Savant page as well, because you look at the expected batting average and it's very low. I don't know if that's due to the ground ball rate, but yeah, I would assume it's due to the ground ball rate. But based upon that, his numbers should be a little better than they are. What's the hard hit rate? I mean, the hard hit rate's above average. The barrel rate's above average. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. He has walked a ton of people. I think that's what's killing him, is the fact that he's just walking way too many people. So if he can clean that up, he would definitely be in much better shape. But because if you're keeping the ball on the ground and it's not very hard contact, it's obviously the base runners that you're just putting on that are self-induced. So he's been out of the league for a very long time, which is always a red flag, how he didn't make it back to the major league sooner. But the Tigers believed in him and were willing to pay him $7 million. They gave him a $10 million club option for next year. I guess banking on, if he just had a lights out amazing season, $10 million would be a bargain, I guess. But not looking like he'll ever see the light of day as far as that's concerned. Let's pull up Winfield Perez real quick, because I feel like his same thing with him as far as the metrics. Yeah, the metrics suggest he should be much more successful than he is. Obviously, the launch angle is an issue, so it's probably a lot of hard hit ground balls, I would assume. But you look at the expected, his expected stats, they're pretty high. And he's not striking out. The K rate is extremely low. The whiff rate is extremely low. He's putting the bat on the ball. He's just not lifting right now. So I don't, the encouraging thing that I can say is that Jahmai Jones has snapped out of it. He got that big double was against Chapman. And then I think he got a couple hits against Cole Reagan. So top-notch left-handed pitching. So that was a really encouraging thing. Matter of fact, he's in the lineup today. Let me pull it up. Dang.
Yeah, he is.
You looking at it?
Yeah, he's in there. He's in right too.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, let's see here. We got Jahmai Jones at the top, Glaber, Veerling batting third. Interesting. Dingler in the 4-hole, Riley at 5. Perez 6, Torque 7, Hyu Lee, which we expected, in the 8-hole, and then Javi at the bottom. So he's going up against Garrett Crochet, who's coming off a really bad outing against, I don't even know who it was, somebody. But he'll be trying to get back on things. So a lefty matchup. We got Framber Valdez going for us. So
Wenzel has 9 ground ball outs and 11 fly ball outs so far. So pretty close to 50-50.
Okay. So, so I get the launch angle thing. They're probably all pop-ups. They're probably not high.
Yeah.
Hard line drive.
That's what I said. That makes sense. 9-11, because he's got 22 at bats and 1 hit, the home run. So.
Oh, that's the only hit he has. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it says looking right at it, the hit spray chart, just one to right field.
Yeah. So everything's put in place. He's only got 2 strikeouts, no walks to speak of, or no, 2 walks. So 24 total.
And you know what?
Bats.
And I looked at, there was a graphic where they talked about the contact rate, and everybody. Okay, here it goes. AJ Hinch says we're obviously looking for contact there. Contact rate in 2026. 91% for Wenzel, as we just talked about, 72% for Torque, 60% for Carp, and 75% for Colt. This makes sense why Carp didn't hit for Perez. Thought Keith might have been an option instead of Torque. So yeah, the contact rate has been exponentially higher, which hasn't, which is certainly cut down on the power, but definitely was a point of emphasis over the offseason when we had so many guys striking out. It's like you guys need to put the bat on the ball. So I think we just need to let things play out. The analytics here is kind of is encouraging in a sense because he's making contact. You look at the hard hit rate, 55%. I mean, he's pounding. It must be must be the ground balls or something. I don't understand how your hard hit rate could be that high, but the launch angle is that off. Like, because can you still hit it extremely hard but be a pop up?
I mean, yeah, if it comes up, if it's up there for 5-6 seconds, if you scorch one up there,
yeah,
that's like just hitting the sweet spot, but the very top of the barrel, essentially, and it just goes straight up like a rocket.
It's a game of inches.
Yeah, I guess technically, but yeah. Ain't it?
Troy says, I'm not confident with our bullpen at all. Even Kenley, I don't see as an elite closer. No, not elite. But I think 5 or 6. ERA under 2.
And it's really a 3-headed horse. It's really what it is with those 3 guys, Finnegan, Best, and Larry. So
yeah. I think the biggest concern, outside of the occasional collapse of Will Vest in the 8th inning, is Drew Anderson, and I think De Jesus. I don't think he's been that good. Good spring, but
he had one game. I think he gave up 2 runs, but he's had a couple good outings. Otherwise, I think he pitched the other day too. I still think he's deployable. I know what Holton gave up a home run the other day, his first run of the year allowed. I'm not terribly worried. I think he's pitched 3 or 4 innings this year, and that's the only run he's given up. So. Yeah, it's just been not using Drew Anderson anymore at this point, so we can get to everyone else who's better to preserve a lead. That's been about it.
Right. Let me see. I can't find Emmanuel De Jesus' Savant page.
ENM.
Oh, that's what it is. Emmanuel, and then De Jesus is 7. Yeah. So he's got an ERA of 5.40 in only 5 games. Weak contact, no whiffs, velocity down, ground ball is way down. So yeah. But 5 games though, not a large sample size. So
you can see the hard hit percentage and barrel percentage are pretty good. So it's weaker contact that's getting through for the most part.
Yeah. So yeah. We covered a lot there. We talked about, the good and the bad. Definitely want to see more from Torque and Perez. But we'll see what Jahmai does. We'll see if he can complete a really good week with a couple, with some hits against Garrett Crochet. Touched on the lineup.
Just to note, because of him, do we think we can replicate what the Twins did to him at the beginning of the week?
The Twins did to
Crochet. Remember they dropped 9 runs?
Oh, right. That's who it was.
Right. They went off.
I couldn't remember.
2 innings. I think it was 11 runs, 9 earned in less than 2 innings, Garrett Crochet, and he pitched like 80 plus pitches in less than 2 innings. That's crazy.
He may not go another game in his career giving up 10 runs, but I'll take a hefty 5 to 6.
And that was with Ryan Kreidler hitting a 3-run bomb too.
Our
former opening day center fielder Ryan Kreidler.
Yeah, we were actually recording the McGonigal signing situation when Kryler hit that home run. But yeah, it's crazy how they can just turn the most mediocre and random players into like everyday. I don't know if he's still not an everyday player, but he's got a couple home runs over there. So yeah.
Good for him.
Anyways,
Kind of didn't really do him dirty, so
kind of. But you know what? He hung around a while. Like he was on our team
before the All-Star, the trade deadline. We outright released him from Toledo.
Right. Yeah.
Oh well. Good for him.
Subscribe to the channel. We're here every Sunday, recapping a week in Tigers baseball. Any live updates, we definitely will attempt to go live and keep everybody up on what's going on. Down the line, we got the trade deadline. That's always a busy time for us as well. But yeah, tell a friend to tell a fan. Corner to Copa, Bleachers to Speakers. Subscribe to both of them. Any closing words before we get up out of here?
Not really, other than maybe a little plug of what could also be on after the Tigers' third game of 4 in Boston.
Oh yeah, the Pistons play their debut playoff game today at 6:30. That's at home against the Orlando Magic. If you haven't had an opportunity, me and June actually recorded a playoff preview show, so everybody go and check that out ahead of the game to see what the keys are to the Pistons victory of game 1. But yeah, we got a lot going on, man. Pistons in the playoffs, Tigers well into the swing of things as far as baseball is concerned, and what else? Got the draft next week. Got a lot of stuff going on, so stay tuned. We'll be back next week, and appreciate everybody for tuning in and commenting on the YouTube. We out of here.
Peace.
Get your lick back. If a nugget do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your